This review is of Aji-No-Moto Umami seasoning. This is made by the company that was created by the man who invented umami seasoning. So monosodium glutamate is a product of the United States, and although this is a Japanese company, they started making it. They still make it in Japan. There's really not much else I can tell you. It was the creator was inspired by his wife's soup, which I guess had seaweed and some other stuff in it, and he really wanted to capture the essence of that flavor, and so he came up with this product. Now, here are the here's the blurb, and there are some directions for use, as well as the ingredients and nutrition facts. Of course, it's pretty simple. The ingredients are monosodium glutamate. Now, there has been, since I believe it was the 1970s, a claim that MSG is dangerous for your health. And the truth of the matter is that part of this was caused by the doctor who made the claim after having visited a Chinese restaurant, and then he very vigorously reported to the public about how he'd gone there and he'd had these certain symptoms and stuff like that, and basically really did a very unscientific thing. So I've heard off and on about it. I've eaten MSG. I've not eaten MSG, but for the most part, I didn't think about it too much. I never had any problems with MSG. Then one day I decided to take a look at MSG and see if I could figure out, the truth. And what I discovered is that if you give MSG to rats and mice and rodents, especially in larger than normally consumed quantities, those animals will suffer. Apparently, rodents have an intolerance to MSG, especially in large quantities, and it can cause terrible problems for them. But these studies tended to give excessive amounts of MSG to the rodents, amounts that no human would ever eat. And they weren't exactly given a choice. It was basically forced on them. Now, to cut to the end of the story, I then searched for studies done on just humans and discovered that, with the exception of a small number of humans who are sensitive to MSG and have problems like increased sensitivity to pain and headaches and stuff like that, the vast majority of people don't have a problem with MSG. Also, MSG or parts of MSG are naturally occurring in various foods, including mushrooms. Glutamate is something that people worry about because they think, oh, well, glutamate is used in the brain, and gosh, if it's in my blood, it's going to go in my brain. Actually, glutamate cannot pass through the blood. There's a barrier that prevents some chemicals in your blood from getting into the brain. It's abbreviated the BBB, the blood-brain barrier. And glutamate happens to be one of those chemicals that cannot get into the brain, except for this part down here at the base of the brain that is naturally exposed to what's happening in the brain, the blood. I mean, anyways, so if you start having problems with increased sensitivity to pain, or you start to have headaches and stuff after you've eaten MSG, you may want to consider having that checked out. I am going to taste this brand now, and I just want to show you. This is what it looks like. So it looks pretty similar. You may have noticed there that there were some crystals of this that were actually fairly long, and that is typical of MSG. Now, in this box, it came in one big package. So I actually used an old competitor's package, to serve this. The interesting thing about MSG is that MSG is, for me anyways, it is a combination of sweet and salty. And it's got way less sodium than actual salt does. And therefore, it's safer for people like me who have a sensitivity to salt that causes things like hypertension. The flavor is definitely enjoyable. I think that, honestly, I grew up eating Accent, or not grew up, but when I started buying MSG, I bought Accent, and that was fine. I enjoyed it, but I think that this brand is actually a bit better, and why not? I mean, it's maybe it's just psychological, but it is the original brand, and setting aside the price fixing that was done in the USA with the help of a guy who turned whistleblower and really screwed it all up. I'll give this a 9. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.